Hello, and welcome to TheAquaPhi, the ESPN of Science Fiction, the Entertainment Science Fiction Programming Network, the ESPN of Sci-Fi. And in this podcast, we're going to talk all about science fiction. Everything having to do with sci-fi fits into our programming network. Right? So, Ohayo gozaimasu. Bonjour. Buenos dias. Zhao Sheng Hao, Zhao An, and welcome. So in our first podcast, we'll talk about the novel that I wrote. Of course, this is the novel that I've written. And when you get it from the website, TheAquaPhi.com, you purchase this novel. This is what it's going to look like, right? Nice, front and back, easy to read. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it. As we can see the title, The Aqua Phi. The Aqua Phi. And what is it about? Well, it's about a time period where I kept saying, why doesn't anybody write about science fiction underwater, action adventure underwater? Because all we got is everything is in outer space, right? And outer space is vast. That's understandable. You can create and do whatever you want in outer space because it's so huge. You can do time travel and then invent all sorts of things with time travel. But what about underwater? Well, because underwater was limited to space in this globe, so it couldn't be as creative as outer space. So I said, why won't anyone do something? Do movies? Because all we had was Captain Nemo, the Submariner, Aquaman, and 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, right? But nothing vast with just human beings like you and me in outer space, in under the ocean, right? Outside of the submarine, not just inside of the compressed inside of the submarine. So instead of waiting for someone to write about it, make a movie about it, I decided, let me just do it myself. And so that's what I did. I did it myself, wrote this novel that you can purchase on the THE, as you see here, TheAquaPhi.com. TheAquaPhi.com, you'll purchase this paperback book and read the story. And the story is about you and me, us, dealing with our real events, real things that affect us. So it starts, here's a prologue. In the far distant future, when we had colonized space, there were those of us who remained loyal to the earth, but the earth was ruined because of our lust for power. And so we built cities and colonized them beneath the sea's roiling waters. So it's about you and me building under the water because right now we're ruining the planet. There's global warming, ice is melting, so speed that up in a far distant future, and global warming is in full effect. But right now, some of us are building underwater, already building cities, homes, villages underwater. And so this is what it's all about. And lots of adventure begins with us living underwater. So I'll give you a little bit about the book. It starts off with a wedding taking place with the civilization that lives under the ocean. And here on page 18, I'll read a little bit from it for you so you can see how it reads. And as well, you'll see it's about real people, you and me, not superheroes, people with greater skills than us. It's just about us. So on page 18 starts this way. Jereb wrapped his arm around hers as they smiled lovingly at each other and took their first steps towards her future. Perfection unfolded as two snow-colored mammals, likely male and female sperm whales, swam below the glass where Jereb and Sunny walked, giving the impression they were being carried by the gliding mammals toward the golden stage where Qualdor stood waiting. The audience stared in awe at the timing of this magnificent sight and began clapping with excitement. Qualdor stood mesmerized at the top of the stage, appreciating everything his eyes beheld. Qualdor looked at Sunny from head to toe, breathless. His eyes followed hers as she came closer to him. She sparkled with every step as a candlelight. The pearls from her clothes and the love in her eyes all glistened in unison. He pulled out of his pocket an oyster that once contained a large, beautifully smooth pearl, and now held Sunny's wedding ring. So there it is. It starts with the wedding that's unfolding. But all of a sudden, nobody knows whether this couple, Qualdor, is married to Sunny or not, because they're attacked. Right in the middle of the wedding, they're attacked. And I'll bring you some something about that. Let's go to page 39 and 40. On page 39, he held her thick waves of hair in his hands as she wrapped her arms around his muscular shoulders, and he passionately kissed her as a desire to do more consumed them. The sound of crashing water and breaking glass devoured the world around them. When he lowered his eager lips onto her dark, soft chin, she tilted her head back and let out a heavy, impatient sigh from between her parted lips. He hungrily kissed her neck until they heard the shouting of their names repeatedly beneath their feet, reminding them of the moment they were briefly trying to escape. Right? So the couple has no time to be a couple because glass is breaking, the water seeping. So they live in this place called a dome underwater, and the dome is cracking and the ocean is coming down on them, right? It's starting to get up to their ankles. And so it's time to depart. And people are shouting, let's go, let's go. And so they have to get into what's called the Aqua Phi. The Aqua Phi now becomes their home. It's a vessel, actually, but it's a vessel with all the compartments resembling the dome, but a smaller version of the dome that takes off. And then their adventure begins. So it's about you and me underwater, facing imminent danger, imminent problems, but we know how to think. And this is the advantage they have. They're constantly thinking, no matter how pressing things get. And you'll see all the adventures that they come through. They're constantly thinking. And this is what the Aqua Phi is all about. In our next podcast, we'll talk some more about the Aqua Phi and also about book 2 of the Aqua Phi Under Space.